YouTube? How you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking some NBA. We're talking Kyrie Irving, and a clip was sent to me, and I figured we'd react to it. I only saw the first few seconds of it. I know it's a Stephen A. clip, and he questions, should the Nets trade Kyrie Irving based on his vaccination status? Now, if you live under a rock and don't know the situation with Kyrie and other NBA players, Kyrie seems to be refusing to get the vaccine, meaning that he's going to miss all of his home games, because based on New York guidelines now, you can't be inside without the vaccine. Spoiler alert, the Nets play inside, meaning Kyrie Irving is set, as of right now, if things were to end today, missing at least half of his games this NBA season. And to me, I'll give my, and this might be a larger topic for, a video on its own, but my take on the vaccine and whatnot, and if you guys know me or have followed the channel for, a long time now, I'm the least political person, but I don't think the vaccine needs to be tied to politics. My personal opinion on the vaccine, as someone that had COVID in the past, but is also vaccinated, fully vaccinated now, my opinion is that it's your opinion. And I think that that should be fine. Like, I've known people now to get COVID even after having the vaccine. And did it help with their symptoms and whatnot? I hope so. I do trust the medicine that goes into that. I don't think it's some conspiracy or anything like that. But if that's your take on it, then I'm not going to sit there and lecture you about getting the vaccine. The only thing I'll say, and like I said, this isn't political. The only thing I'll say is that if it's tied to your job or tied to your source of income, like Kyrie Irving and like other NBA players, and that employer, being the NBA at this point, says, hey, if you don't play these games, we're not going to pay you. I think that that's totally up to the NBA. And as much as the players run the NBA and make the decisions and whatnot, I think if you want to say, hey, you know what? I don't want to get the vaccine, I won't play in these games, you have to at least understand that, okay, well, I'm not going to be paid to play these games. Vaccination status and vaccine aside, that's a personal choice. I totally empower everyone to make that personal choice on their own, what makes sense for them. Again, I've had COVID, but I still went and got the vaccine. It's totally up to the individual, except when your employer or you literally have a black and white sort of rule of, hey, if you're not going to play in these games, you're not going to get paid. You can't go and throw a hissy fit about it. If you want to sit out the games and make $0 for those games, then I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong. But I think the NBA world is now starting to get a little mad that the NBA is thinking, or at least saying that, well, if they don't play in these games, they're not going to get paid. That does make sense to me. And NBA players saying, oh, that's BS or whatnot. Maybe I'm missing something, because it just makes sense to me that if you don't play, you won't get paid. And some of these guys have plenty of money. Some of these guys have enough money, like Kyrie Irving, where maybe missing half or more than half of his games isn't really going to move the needle for him. So then more power to him to make his decision. We're going to get into the video now. I think I rambled about that for too long. Should the Nets, because now we're looking at it from the team's perspective, should the Nets trade Kyrie Irving? I have a take on this, but let's see what Stephen A. has to say. Before you do that, guys, make sure to hit that subscribe button and like the video, and then comment down below. Like I said, I'm a political dummy. I'm not someone that preaches anything or wants to sway anyone's opinion on stuff like this. So comment down below what you guys think of the vaccine, if it relates to the NBA and if it relates to this situation.
There's this law here in New York with health and safety protocols. Are you concerned about his availability at home games going forward?
No.
Doesn't that tell you that maybe Durant thinks Kyrie will get vaccinated, or at least maybe the laws will change, I guess? Because, again, all home games, as of right now, Kyrie Irving can't play in. All home games. Never mind the fact if they go and travel to New York or travel to somewhere that also requires the vaccination, and then the playoffs. As of right now, and obviously things can change. This COVID stuff, this vaccine stuff changes, I feel like, every single day. But as of right now, that's the case, and Durant just says, no, I'm not concerned.
You expect that not to be an issue?
I expect it not to be. I don't mean, that's on Kyrie, and that's his personal decision. What he does is not on us to speculate what may happen. But we trust in Kyrie, and I expect us to have our whole team at some point.
I don't know.
Here we go.
I don't know if KD understands exactly what he's committing to when he says he's all good with Kyrie Irving not being vaccinated.
I don't even know if that's what he said. I know Stephen A. is going to get the ratings and he's going to try and make a rant out of it, but all KD really just said there, right? He's like, he expects to have their full team. He didn't say he expects Kyrie to get vaccinated or that he's totally cool without him being vaccinated. But let's keep going here.
Because it's about more than just supporting your teammate. It's about the fact that based on current New York City guidelines, Kyrie Irving would not be able to play in any of Brooklyn's home games.
Which is
that's 41 games
crazy.
in the regular season, not including the playoffs. And we're talking about a team that's competing for the championship, by the way.
So there's the question. Should the Nets trade Kyrie Irving? And I think Stephen A must be going down the path of, yeah, trade him.
I know KD remembers how last season ended for the Nets, right? Knocked out in the second round by the Milwaukee Bucks in Game 7. Sent home because Kyrie Irving wasn't playing, because we all know what would happen if Kyrie was playing. They'd have won. But this season, Kyrie's anti-vaccine stance means he's out as many as 4 home games of every playoff series.
Which is crazy.
He could be out an entire series against my New York Knicks.
Oh, come on now.
Is that really worth it? I know KD wants Kyrie on this team. That's why he won't entertain the idea of trading him.
What was KD supposed to say, by the way? In that interview, it's like, oh, like, you know, are you okay with Kyrie being out? Like, do you expect him to play? Was he supposed to rip Kyrie? Or is he, like, I don't understand what KD was supposed to say. This video so far, like, I'm not reading into anything that Kevin Durant said, but so far we're halfway through the video, and it seems like that's what Stephen A is basing this off of. But let's get into the question now, because he just said it. Should they trade him?
And he knows that if Kyrie gets traded, he's so eccentric, he might just up and retire. We can't rule that out with Kyrie now.
You really can't.
KD wants Kyrie on his side. He wants Kyrie with the Brooklyn Nets. We all know that. But the way things are right now, Kyrie isn't going to be on the Nets anyway. Not really. At least not for half their games.
That's not a bad point. When you think about it, it's like, and again, I don't know why this is tied to Durant. I didn't see that coming. But Kyrie, if he doesn't, you know, follow any rules or whatnot, and he does decide to sit out, that's almost just as good as him going and being traded, because he's not going to be there for home games. We all know he's going to get some stupid injury that lingers for, you know, more than half the season. He's probably going to miss some of the games that he's actually healthy for. So it's almost like Kyrie's determining his own fate here and forcing maybe the Nets' hand.
Said it last week about Andrew Wiggins and Golden State in regards to the vaccine. So I'll say it again with Kyrie Irving. Trade him.
Wow. Hey, simply put, Stephen A says, trade him.
He ain't gonna take the vaccine and he can't play half your home games. Trade him.
Here's my only issue with that, right? You say trade him. You're basing that off of one season, Stephen A, right? Like, this is one season. I hope that COVID's not going to be around, or it's not going to be this big, you know, shadow or a glooming cloud hanging over us forever. So I get it, like, trade him because he's going to miss all these games. But this is just one season that we hope that this is like a rule for, right? Like, hopefully everything returns to normal at some point, vaccine or no vaccine. So do you trade Kyrie Irving because he can only play half the season? And then, you know, he's in on another team, maybe in the Eastern Conference, and he has to compete with your Nets? Or do you say, hey, you know what? It's his decision. Like, we can't really force him to stick anything in his arm. You know, we got to ride this season out. Because long-term thinking, you don't trade him. Short-term thinking, you trade his ass.
Can you commit to any player, even one as magnificent and brilliant as Kyrie Irving?
I'd agree. Yeah, magnificent and brilliant and as douchebaggish as Kyrie Irving.
If he's
That's coming from a
half
Celtics
your
fan.
games, how can you do that if you're trying to win a championship? KD is trying to be fair and open with his brother, Kyrie Irving, because he loves that brother. I get that. But he's also got to be fair to himself and the rest of his team, too. They're trying to win a ring. And right now, Kyrie Irving and his anti-vaccine nonsense is standing in the way. And the only reason...
Standing in the way for this year. I hate Kyrie Irving. The Celtics fans watching this know that. If you're a new viewer, I'm a Celtics fan, so what do you want me to do, right? Love the guy. So I still think that this is so short-term mindseted, whatever, you know what I mean, that it's like, oh, we got to trade him because he's not getting vaccinated. I hate Kyrie. I'd love to jump on here and be like, oh, screw him because he's not vaccinated. I already told you guys I'm down with the personal decision thing. I got vaccinated and I had COVID, so it's like, you know where I stand on should you get it or not. Like, yeah, I got it, so obviously I'm not against it. But Kyrie Irving being traded, it's like, hopefully this isn't the case long term. This is New York's rules this season, and, you know, hopefully things start to return to normal and whatnot. So I feel like you trade him right now, you're already guaranteeing that you're not going to win a championship this year, right? Because if you trade him to any team that has any sort of similar guidelines or whatnot, other teams are going to think the same exact thing. So you might as well already chalk this season away as a non-championship year for the Nets regardless. So maybe you do just stick it out and let Kyrie Irving be Kyrie Irving and do all the, you know, do all those antics off the court and whatnot. And you might as well hope that in a season or two he's back to playing 100%.
Reason I say nonsense is because it ain't about left wing, right wing, as Michael Irvin, the playmaker, said. It's about the ring. That's what you came to Brooklyn to
Amen
get.
to that.
All of this is just a latest distraction. Hell, a lot of us didn't want to take it. I didn't want to take it. But you got to do what you got to do.
And that's kind of where I came out with it, guys. Like Stephen A. just said it. He didn't want to take it. A lot of people didn't want to take it. You don't know anything about it. But you have to at least be able to justify in the fact that I understand if I'm not going to be able to work, or in this case, play if I don't get it. If Kyrie Irving's fine with that, then I can't really disagree with what Kyrie Irving, you know, thinks of it. But from the Nets standpoint, I don't think that they need to go and trade him. I don't think that they need to be so short-minded that it's like, oh, you know what? He's not getting it this year. Let's trade him, even though we could 2-3 years from now be an incredibly dominant team. I think that, you know, trading Kyrie Irving would be a really impulsive sort of act from the Nets. And I don't agree with Stephen A. here, just in the sense that should they trade him. That's what I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I know it's a touchy subject, but hopefully you guys saw where I was coming from with these. If I ruffled any feathers, I'm sorry. Like, you probably shouldn't have your feathers ruffled off of anything I said, because I'm like a self-proclaimed politic dummy. Like, I'm not trying to sway anyone's opinion or trying to preach my opinion on anyone. I'm talking basketball here, and basketball just so happens to be linked to the vaccine for this video. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Hit that subscribe button and like the video. I'll catch you guys in the next one.